How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? I am Reverend Valerie Love. Welcome. You're on Freedom TV, and I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to be with you. I'm happy for us to have this conversation about the fate of humanity and about what's happening on planet Earth as we find ourselves right now in June of 2020, and where humanity goes from here, what our charge is, and how do we rise out of this? How do we rise out of this, and how do we learn from this? And how do we move forward? What's the way forward? So that's all what we're talking about today on Freedom TV. I'm Reverend Valerie Love. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I am a practicing Christian, which love you all, Austin. God bless you, God bless you. Come on in, family, come on in, come on in, come on in. Wait a minute, where's my bell? Wait a minute, because I know how y'all get down. Wait a minute. Gotta get the bell off the altar. Wait a minute now. Oh, yes. Have to be ready. So, for the rituals of the LoveTuber community. So if you're new to the community, this is a global community of spirituality, and we talk about transcendence, and we talk about magic, money, and metaphysics, and all the important things, all those important things here on the channel. How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? Come on in. And today, I have the hangman, because the hanged man, hello, come on in here. This is where we find ourselves right now. This is where we find ourselves right now. So I love tarot. I love all things mystical and all of that. I love all of that. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about where we find ourselves. So you've been hearing me talk about all in 2019. You heard me say many times, 2020 is going to be huge. 2020 is going to be huge. We got the impress that 2020 was going to be huge. We just didn't know how huge it was going to be. We did not know that it was going to be cataclysmically huge. We did not know that, and I kept getting up 2020 is coming, prepare yourself. And I kept saying that, prepare yourself, 2020 is coming, it's going to be huge, okay? It's going to be huge. Ooh, come on. Let me see what it says. Watching you from the salon. Getting the hair chopped. Oh, wonderful, Dyer. That's beautiful, beautiful. So, Dyer, I'm writing a new book on spellcrafting for Christian witches, and it's so fun to write. It's so fun to write. So, we are in a cataclysmic upending of all of our structures. Health structures, educational institutions, religions, Earth, planet Earth. So let's talk about racial. We are grappling with the biggest issues we have ever grappled with as a human race, and we're in it together. Don't you love it, Aurora Day? I love this. We're in it together. And we know the way out is together. And we know the way out is through. And so I have great faith in humanity. We will survive. But let's talk about where we are right now. How did we get here? How did we get here? We got here by rampant forgetfulness of who we are and our place in the cosmos. That's how we got here. Rampant forgetfulness. Remember, in magic, the most important thing is that you remember. Great day. Mwah. Welcome. Come on in. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Rampant forgetfulness about who we are as a species, why we're here, our true connection to source, and in our forgetfulness of our divine nature, because that's the answer to everything. When you remember who you are, when you remember you're divine, when you remember you're invincible, when you remember that you are an absolute sovereign being on the planet, when you remember that you're not a body, you only have a body, when you remember that what you think and say and do is so far beyond what it looks like on the third dimension, when we remember all this, everything changes. Everything changes. Now, what do we currently have? We have a breakdown based on forgetfulness. And the charlatans, because we forgot who we are, it left room for, let's call it, opportunistic bacteria to attack and take hold. Let's talk about what this means. I've been studying lately the work of Zack Bush. Who knows Zack Bush? An incredible scientist and doctor. Who knows Zack Bush? Anyone? Let me know if you know him. And he's talking about the soil. And he's talking about what happened in the soil. And he's talking about Roundup and how Roundup has taken us to a horrible place. Zack Bush. Anyone heard of him? If you haven't heard of him, look him up. I've been reading a lot about him. Actually, not reading about him. I've been watching him a lot on YouTube lately. And this is one of the things that Zack Bush teaches, and this is one of the things that I've discovered in my studies. When you remove all of the helpful elements of nature, all the bacteria, hey Tammy, how you loving? All the bacteria, all the viruses, excuse me, I'm talking about the whole spectrum of life that we're all supposed to be interacting with all the time on an ongoing basis. We're all to be interacting with bacteria all the time. We're all to be interacting with microbiomes all the time so that we create right relationship with microbiomes. We're not microbes, not microbiomes, microbes. Yet, we were taught growing up, this is what I got, antibiotics. They gave us lots of antibiotics for things that were not even adjustable by antibiotics. They gave us bacteria killing agents for things like colds. I remember taking my son to the doctor when he was little, when he was a pediatrician. And I remember the doctors ordering antibiotics for everything. Well, he has a cold or he has this, that's a virus, it's gonna pass. Why? And I always used to ask, why? Come on, Kathy, I know that's right. What are you doing? Oh, member in the Vortex. Yes. Love it, love it, love it. Member in the Vortex. New member. Oh, yay, renewed your membership. We love that. We love that. Welcome, because you're the producers and the executive producers of the channel. I love all our members. You are the producers and the executive producers of the channel. And there's lots of members only content here in the channel. So join as a member. So we were given antibiotics, just prescribe. Because doctors are getting paid every time they write a prescription on that little tiny pad. They're getting paid, right? Prescribe all these antibiotics for things that are not caused by a bacteria in the first place. So who made that up? Next, in addition to that happening in one sector of humanity, in another sector of humanity, I just found this out from Zack Bush, and this was shocking and astonishing. He said when we came out of World War II, there was all this fuel left over. Fuel, like jet fuel, fuel for all the tanks, fuel for all the motorized vehicles that were used for war. And when the war ended, we didn't need all that anymore. So the fuel was still there. So they discovered that if they took the fuel and changed a few of the molecules in the fuel, if they just extracted some of the things from it, in other words, they changed the chemical composition of the fuel, they could use it. And they could use it to create Roundup. So here now, we have chemicals being dumped on the soil. We have farmers being told to use Roundup. And so they start dumping all these things on the soil, chemicals. When they began dumping all the chemicals on the soil, what do you think the soil did? The soil responded with the death of certain very important bacteria. I mean, you're talking billions and billions and billions of different kinds of bacteria, billions and billions and billions of different kinds of microbes that we need to sustain life on planet Earth. We were killing ourselves. Okay, so what began to happen? The soil got more depleted, more depleted, more depleted, until we know the soil has probably no nutritional value at this point. Well, what did that create? Well, Zack Bush is teaching us that because the soil is completely decimated, and now all we have is dirt, we don't have soil, that when it rains, there is not a root system or structure to hold the soil in place where it's supposed to be. So it's been running off because of Roundup. And now we have in the Mississippi Delta, because Mississippi, right, that's where it's all going to run to the Mississippi River, that great river in the middle of the United States. It's going to run off into the river. And he said right at the bottom of the Mississippi is this big pile of dirt and gunk from Roundup. Now, if that wasn't as bad as the garbage swirl in the ocean, do we see that we're creating all this? Now, in addition to that, so you have the spraying of all these chemicals, the decimation of the soil, killing all the microbes in the soil that could help us, killing the microbes that would help the plants create what they need to create so that when we ingest them, we're healthy and better. That's gone. So of course you have a lot of sick people. Of course we have more autism, eczema, allergies, cancers, huge jump up since the 1980s, 1990s in cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke. Why? Because we've heard, let food be thy medicine. Well, your food is no longer medicine. Farmers can't even grow medicine anymore. And your medicine is supposed to come from the earth. Your medicine is supposed to come from the earth for everything. That's where your medicine is supposed to come from. It's not supposed to come from a pill. It's not supposed to come from a doctor. So we have gone so far out of touch with who we really are. So far out of touch with understanding what the microbes are all about, the tiny viruses, the bacteria, and our relationship with them, that we ourselves in our very destructive, confrontational, adversarial, that's the word, in our adversarial approach to nature, we've made nature adversarial to us. A virus is not supposed to kill anybody. Viruses were here before we were in existence. Bacteria is not supposed to kill anybody. Bacteria was here before we came into existence. But we, in our infinite stupidity, have figured out ways to kill bacteria. We figured out, but we didn't realize that we were doing it to ourselves. We figured out ways to kill the bacteria in the soil. We figured out ways to kill the microbes in our bodies. We figured out, now what is your gut doing? The gut needs all those microbes to digest the food. Your skin needs all those microbes to keep the bad stuff away from you. Your tongue, the mucous membranes in your sinuses, all of that, it needs a ton of bacteria. You have bacteria crawling. We're more bacteria than anything else. But we have created a adversarial relationship with bacteria. Do you see that this is a problem based on what the big people told us? This bacteria is very bad. You got to take antibiotics. You got to use antibacterial hand soap, and you got to use hand sanitizer, and you got to kill the bacteria. Did they tell us that was killing the good bacteria too? Yeah, there's some bad bacteria that you probably don't want to have in your body. But did they tell us that it was killing the good bacteria too? And did they tell us this from a place of knowing and understanding of what's really going on, that we need all this bacteria? Did they tell us that we need to use these things sparingly, if at all? No. They just mass produce it, mass use it, mass. Okay. Why are they saying people are dying from COVID? Because that's the official party line. They're calling it a plandemic. They're calling it a plandemic. And I'm not laughing because of anyone who lost their life. Not at all. I'm laughing at the absurdity that we have been told that a virus kills people, and that is not even possible. And everyone would know it if we looked it up. If we studied, we would know it. But we don't study. We want to instead consume mass media. Mass media is all one big conglomerate that is telling you lies. It's a big lie machine. But we want to believe it. It's one great big lie machine. Mass media is one great big lie machine, perpetuating the lie of the people who are running the matrix. That's all. Opt out. Yeah. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, there's people with conspiracies. I don't care about them. Opt out. You are the sovereign being. I'm here for your freedom spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. You are a free sovereign being. You are not subject to any conspiracy anyone makes up anywhere. You're not subject to 5G. You're not subject to COVID. You're not subject to what CNN says. You're not subject to President Trump. You're not subject to a doctor. You're not subject to... We've given away so much of our power. We've given away our power when we are the divine beings on the planet. We're the divinity on the planet. We're the sovereign beings on the planet. But I've never seen so many sovereign beings act like sheeple. Act like sheeple. Just opt out. I opted out. I opted out of COVID. You can opt out. I opted out of 5G. I opted out of mass craziness. I'm like Dr. Batar. I'm allergic to stupidity. I just opted out. I just don't participate in it. You see, it needs your attention. It needs, because energy is attention. Attention is energy. It needs your attention. You're putting so much attention in it. We were feeding the thing. Just feeding it with all our fearful intention. And it was attention that had energy behind it because it had the energy of fear behind it. Just attention, and just fear, attention. Oh my God, COVID. Later, only to find out that it's the damn flu. Only to find out that many more people have died of many more things far beyond COVID. You think COVID is something that is deadly? I don't think so. I think 20 years of smoking is deadly. And then a virus came along and tipped the person into the grave. COVID is just killing everybody. No, it's not. That's fucking lies. You were killing yourself long before COVID came along. You were eating fucking donuts, steaks, McDonald's, smoking cigarettes like a fucking smokestack, and no exercise, and watching Netflix and eating a bag of chips, and COVID killed you? Really? Now, let's talk about it, because they say, oh, but what about the old people? What about the old people? First of all, no one from the spiritual paradigm, no one can leave here unless their soul has agreed to leave. You can't kill me, like Christ said. This is part of knowing you're a sovereign being. You cannot be killed. You cannot be murdered. Christ said, you cannot take my life, but I can give it up. You see, George Floyd, as a very advanced soul, he could have been a Christ. He gave up his life. Yes, it looked like a murder on the third dimension. And yes, on the third dimension, they will all pay, and they're all paying now. And on a higher plane of existence, what did he do? He gave up his life that we might come to some kind of understanding. This man was probably a saint, ascended master, walking around like a normal human being, and we didn't even know it. We don't know who George Floyd was. We don't know if he was Christ, came back again, incarnated. You don't know. No soul can have its life taken from them. God didn't make you a victim to someone else. I give up my life when I choose to. A soul chooses when they're going to give up a life. And I know some people are going to be very mad with me for saying this, and some people are going, no, white people are killing black people. Yes, that's true. And yes, Hitler killed 6 million Jews. And yes, that's all true. And there's a higher truth. Ooh. Yes, that's all true and very regrettable. And we have deep compassion on the third dimension. Yes, And there's a higher truth. Oh my God, there's a higher truth. There's a meaning for everything, even when I don't know what the meaning is. Ooh, there's a higher truth. That's what's going to take us beyond this, humanity. This is how we survive this. We have to go to the higher truths. We have to go to the universal knowing. We have to go to cosmic mind. What is universal knowing? Universal knowing says that if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. Universal knowing says if I deplete the soil, I am killing myself in another 20 years. Universal knowing says if I chop down that tree, I just depleted myself of oxygen. It should be very simple to understand our interconnectedness with everything and everyone. This is not 7 billion people. This is one cosmic mind expressing in 7 billion different souls, expressing as trillions of trees, expressing as the worms going through our earth, turning it until we kill them, expressing as the microbes all over your bodies, sustaining you, protecting you, digesting your food. Good luck digesting your food without bacteria. How the hell do you think they make shit? Bacteria. Good luck living your life without bacteria. Why would you even want to? I mean, this is lunacy. Matter of fact, we don't even know where our food comes from anymore. I buy food all the time. Do you know where that food came from? I don't know. Even my grandmother, as close as my grandmother knew where her food came from. Because the butcher got it from a little farm right there, and it came to the butcher, and the butcher chopped up. And my grandmother grew up on a farm. They grew all their own food. Peaches came from that peach tree right there. We know where our food came from. The watermelon came from the watermelon patch in the back on the farm. My family grew up on a farm. The string beans came from that spot right over there. The beets came from right there. The collard greens came from right there. And they canned it up in the wintertime. They opened the cans and they ate the food. They knew where all their food came from. That's why my grandmother went on at 94, and we couldn't understand how they could eat bacon, egg, and cheese every single day. Did you notice that those farm people were eating bacon, egg? My family grew up eating bacon, eggs, and cheese every morning, grits, cheese, all that. It didn't kill them. Why not? Because they knew where it came from. That pig was part of the family. And then one day, they didn't see that pig anymore. They were like, where's Chuckles? Oh, Chuckles had to go on a little trip. That's what the parents told you. The little chickens were running out there. You went and got the eggs right from under the chicken every day. That didn't kill you. That doesn't kill you. You know what kills you? Craziness kills you. The craziness that has farmers depleting their soil and pouring Roundup on the soil. The craziness that has the farmers sparing pesticides. The craziness that have the doctors giving you pills. Craziness kills and nothing else. And if we sign on to the lunacy of planet Earth right now, the absolute lunacy, I don't know where humanity is going to go. All I can say is thank you to the sages and the yogis and the gurus who continue to pray for us, the priests and the nuns who are cloistered and praying for us, the scientists who are doing right science, who now come to the understanding that maybe we need to cooperate with nature and not plunder nature or conquer nature. Maybe we need to cooperate. Maybe we are nature. Maybe this is one great big circle. Maybe if we kill that part of the circle, it's just coming back around to kill us. Why don't we understand this? Why don't we understand that cutting down the lungs of the Amazon, the lungs of the planet in the Amazon is not a good idea? How come we don't know that? And why don't we know it? Yeah, many of us know it. Why don't we know it to the level and the consciousness level that would prevent it from happening on the planet? You see, if all of the consciousness, if the consciousness was more tipped toward nature, sustainability, true living, in harmony with the all, then it would be impossible for loggers to be chopping down the homeland of indigenous people and the lungs of the planet known as the Amazon. But you got to have toilet paper for the next pandemic. Where do you think all your toilet paper is coming from? We don't get that. We don't get that. I mean, how dumb can we be? How dumb can we be to continue to destroy ourselves? At this point, it's self-destruction. That's all this is. So guess what? Self-destruction through hatred of each other, self-destruction through the races fighting each other, self-destruction through depletion of natural resources, self-destruction through killing all the bacteria we can see. Kill it, bacteria, just kill it. Why kill the thing that you're made of? Humanity will survive. And now guess what nature did to us? Gave us a timeout. Sit down. Because your rampant destruction from ignorance will no longer do. I'm so happy that the universe set us all down for a global timeout. I'm so happy. Call it a pandemic. I never called it that. It's not a pandemic to me. It's not. It's a collective timeout. It's a global meditation. We get to consider, all the hospitals were closed. Now let me ask you a question. All those people were in hospitals around the whole world. They all had to go home. What happened? Maybe you didn't need the hospital in the first place. Maybe if you learned how to eat beets, you wouldn't be in the hospital. Maybe if you learned to take vitamin C every day, you wouldn't need a doctor. This is not medical advice. These are just questions. I'm just asking questions. Maybe if we learned to go out and breathe fresh air and breathe right, we wouldn't be eating so much food in the first place. The more you breathe, the less you eat. Maybe if we fasted once every 7 years even, right? Maybe if we fasted at least once a month or once a year or once every so often. I fast on a pretty regular basis. Maybe if we fasted, we would give our body an opportunity to collect itself, maybe you would give your organs a rest, your kidneys. You just keep hammering your kidneys every day, hammering your liver every day, hammering your heart every day. How long do you think you're going to be able to keep doing that? How long? And then be surprised when you go to the doctor 50, 60, 70 and something's wrong. Surprise. You're surprised. What are you surprised about? No. Boo, that's karma. That's law of cause and effect. The cause was all them chips you was eating. The effect is heart disease. It's simple cause and effect. Stop, people. That's not it. Humanity, here is how we survive. Here is how we come to the higher truth. Here is how we come to our true Garden of Eden. Weren't we put in a Garden of Eden? That should be a clue. Garden. Your life is to be a Garden of Eden, where you are living in cooperation with everything in your environment. Well, how do we do this? First, you must remember who you are. You must remember who you are. Because guess what? Every one person who remembers who they are, who wakes up out of the matrix, remembers who they are, comes to now emanate that into the global pool of consciousness. I remember who I am. And it's putting forth that signal, adds to all the other signals emanating, I remember who I am, a divine being, a sovereign being, that is one with the all. The all is all. I'm one with the all. And as you become this rememberer, this great rememberer, you are now going to ascend. You're going to ascend above the fray. You're going to live above the fray. You see, down here swirling around, fear is a very dense vibration. It's just low. It's swirling around at the bottom. It's a bottom feeder, like catfish. That's why I stopped eating catfish a long time ago. It's the sanitation of the lakes, right? Lives down there where catfish lives. You want to go up to the surface of the water where you can float. You don't want to live all the way down in the dark. You want to ascend your consciousness, and guess what? You're in charge of ascending your consciousness, and you can ascend your consciousness at any time, at will, simply by your decision and following it through with your embodiment. You can ascend your consciousness at any time, followed by a decision, followed through by the embodiment of it, of your decision. You can't just make the decision and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna send my consciousness, and still keep doing the same low vibration things that we were doing all along. That's not how this is done. It's a decision followed through the work of embodying it, becoming it. As Gandhi said, become the change you desire to see. I'm going to become it. I'm going to become harmony with all life. That's why I'm so deep into Ma'at right now. And because Ma'at, we've got to go back to Kemet. Ancient Egypt, they had the secrets. Ma'at told us that we were in harmony with all. You live in harmony with the river. You live in harmony with the turtle. You live in harmony with the worm. You live in harmony with the leaf. You live in harmony with the flower. You live in harmony with the sun. You live in harmony with the moon. Ma'at is all about harmony. That's why Ma'at is truth. It's harmonious with all things. And stop being adversarial, confrontational, fighting, resisting, plundering, murdering, raping, pillaging, fighting. Become harmonious with all things. And the more who pluck themselves out of the matrix, just reach around and pull that big old hose at the back of your head, that big old plug, like you saw Neo do, pull that big old plug out the back of your head and get yourself, go through the meltdown of coming out of the matrix and open your eyes for the first time and see reality. It's wonderful. And then you will look at these things. You'll be able to observe consciousness on planet Earth and how it's playing out, and you find it very fascinating. And then you will become a beneficial, not from inside of it. Like my mama used to tell us, you can't clean up a pig if you go in the mud. Get yourself clean first. Stand up. Okay, I'm not in the mud anymore. I'm not in the mud of human consciousness anymore, where fear and worry and doubt lurk, and belief that bacteria and viruses can kill you. Our great-great-great-grandchildren will laugh at us hysterically when they find out the true cause of these things. They'll laugh at us hysterically, like they were so magical. You know how we laugh at other magical people, and we think that magical people from a long time ago were wrong because when they saw lightning, they thought it was a god. And then we got the scientific explanation of lightning, and we call that elementary, we call it ignorant. They didn't know where lightning came from. The god. And then we discovered where lightning came from, right? Our great-great-great-grandkids, when they look at COVID, they're going to laugh at us. They were so dumb. They didn't know that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's going to seem like an amazing breakthrough. These are the breakthroughs we're always having on planet Earth because we're always learning, we're always growing. I'm going to tell you something. When you come out of the matrix and you begin to look around, you will find, this is very bizarre, what I'm about to say. You will find that none of that stuff touches you at all. Yeah, I'm on the planet. None of that stuff has touched me. I got on a plane. I got on a couple of planes during this thing. I was looking around. I was like, whoo, I have all the space I want on a plane. I showed pictures of it on Instagram. I'm not putting on a mask. I want bacteria. I want all the bacteria. I want to interact with all the bacteria in the world. Why? Because then the good ones will help you, and the cells in your body, healthy blood, healthy immune system, will kill the ones that are not supposed to be on you. And then guess what? You just got immunity. Now you just got stronger. You're immune. So immunity doesn't come from hiding and shielding from the thing. Who's going to be stronger? The boy in the bubble, in the plastic bubble, or the person that's playing around in the mud? Why do you think you made mud cakes when you were a little kid and you ate that? You had mud all over. You came inside looking like this. And you had mud and dirt everywhere. And the mud back then probably actually had helpful microbes in it. And what do babies do? They put everything in their mouth. That's how they learn. That's how they build their immune system. So do you really want to be sheltered completely from bacteria? Do you think that's going to be a happy existence for yourself? Or would you like to be exposed to the bacteria in a loving and kind way? Now, I'm not saying just go out there and come in contact with every toxic thing that you can find. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your approach, the consciousness that we hold as we approach life. That our approach has been faulty. Oh, virus, bacteria, kill it. But you don't even know what the thing does yet. Kill it. before we kill it, how about we find out what it even does? That would seem to make common sense. It would seem. Everything has a purpose. So, this is how we're going to conclude this message. Will humanity survive? Only if we change. Woo! Only. And we're changing. Oh, we're changing. The saint, whom I now regard as a saint, George Floyd, who just revealed to us so much. And George Floyd, from his ascension, was able to bring together people. I heard that there are people in Europe protesting. These white cops are out of control. I heard that there are Aboriginal people in Australia protesting for black people. Now Target turned Juneteenth into a holiday. Now, I'm sure Juneteenth is going to be a national holiday. It's just a matter of time. Now, all eyes are, the whole global community has come together to congeal as one with black people and say, no, we're not going to stand for that. It's like being on the playground and you see a bully keep beating up the same kid. Wouldn't you? It brings tears to my eyes. What if all the other kids on the playground stood up to the bully? We would end that. But we didn't have the courage and we didn't have the wherewithal to fight a bully. We just let the bully keep rolling over black people's lives. We let the bully run rampant and black people were saying, hey, we're being killed out here. We're being killed in the streets. Nobody cared. Every Target went on with their life, business as usual, selling all their goods and wares to black people. Walmart went on selling everything. Yeah, black people just died. Yeah, they went on selling everything. Yeah, everybody went on like, oh yes, another black person died. Okay, well, and then have the hubris, have the absolute nerve to go to court and find, oh, not guilty. You just killed a person and you killed a person in plain sight in front of all of us and you get to walk off not guilty. What does that tell our children? It tells us bullies rule. They get to do whatever they feel like doing. And that's just how it is. Black people said no more. And now the whole world is congealing. Not around a particular cop. This goes so far beyond one cop. Don't even think about it. Because these instances have happened in state after state after state. It would be a difference if it was a localized event. It's not. It's systemic. It's systemic. It's a tree that's roots must be coming up. This is systemic. This is not about any one cop or that cop. It happened in New York. It happened there. It happened there. It happened there. It happened there. It happened so many places. If we were to write it all out, it would be a fucking too long list. This is not about cops. Can we understand that? This is about a consciousness that allows that to continue and be perpetuated and go without accountability. No accountability whatsoever. And let it have been a white person, the whole country would have shut down. Let it have been white boys being killed. Let it have been white people being killed mercilessly by cops. Let it have been 5 white people killed by cops. This whole country would have shut down. This has got to stop. You can't just indiscriminately kill white people. That's what would happen. I want to see Dave Chappelle or Cat Williams. I want to see a comedic treatment of that. Because trust me, if white people were being killed out here in these streets indiscriminately, this whole damn country, the laws would have been changed. Wait a second now. But black people, well, that's what we do in America. We kill black people. Well, first we enslave them. We beat them to death. And we kill them. Well, we got many ways of killing black people. Sometimes we lynch them. Sometimes we hang them up in trees. Sometimes we burn them. And sometimes we just put our knee on them. And sometimes we just shoot them. Sometimes we shoot them in the back. A whole bunch of us. We just this has become a sport. We're over it. We're over it. How will humanity survive? Consciousness must change. consciousness. We've got to change the consciousness that allows these cycles and these systemic diseases of compassion. It's a disease of not compassion, not a disease of compassion, a disease of lack of compassion. That's what we have. And we've had it for far too long. We've had it for hundreds of years. I'm going to end with this. Ghana said, Black people, come back home. We give you free citizenship. Well, we give you citizenship. I don't know if it's free. I was like, I'll take that deal, Ghana. I'm about to go to Ghana and get my citizenship there too. Because apparently I was born with citizenship in this country, and I'm very thankful and I'm very appreciative. But America wasn't never my home. America was where I was born. A home is one thing. A home is in your heart. Now, where you're born and circumstances and conditions, the circumstances and conditions of my life, where my soul placed me in this place for a very important purpose. And the reason it placed me here in a very important purpose, because it knew that I was going to be a minister to humanity, and that I would be traveling all about the planet, and that I would require the highest quality passport available. That's the reason my soul put me in America. For the work of God. Not for the work of America. You think I'm aware? You think I haven't ever held an American flag, never saluted American flag in my entire life. That was one thing the witnesses had right. That was one thing the witnesses helped me with. They did not pledge allegiance to a flag. And now I see why. Everything wasn't bad. Nothing is all good, nothing is all bad. Witnesses, that cult is crazy. And I didn't stay in that cult, but they did have that one thing right. Maybe more than that. Maybe more than one thing was right. They did not ever pledge allegiance to any flag. They were like, no, my allegiance is to God. At least they were clear about that. And I, not one day in my entire years of being in school, not one day did I ever put my hand on my heart and pledge allegiance to the flag. Witnesses didn't do that. And they made sure the kids were, when they say the Pledge of Allegiance, you stand there. Or you sit, or you do not. Witnesses didn't pledge allegiance, and they didn't go to war. You saw no witnesses in battlefield. They were conscientious objectors. I don't know if some of them went to prison, I don't know, but they were conscientious objectors, which shows you can opt out. Oh, you have to go into war. No, you don't. I am a conscientious objector. I don't agree to killing people. I don't care what color they are, and I don't care what story you made up about why we have to go to somebody else's country and shoot them up. They made that story up about Iran. They made that story up about Iraq. They made that story up about Russia. Now they're making up the story about China. I done been to China. I've been in China and Hong Kong. Ain't nothing wrong with those people over there. Those people are lovely. They're living their lovely life. But America got to go over there and try to tell Chinese people what to do. What the fuck? So, I say all that to say, you are the final arbiter in your consciousness. You do not need to participate in any foolishness, in any craziness. You remember who you are. You conduct yourself the way you desire to see the whole world conduct itself. Be the change. Be the change. And watch it change. I'm going to end with this. Wayne Dyer is coming to me right now. And Wayne Dyer said, when I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. Change the way you look at the world. Change the way you look at Black people, white people, Chinese people, Iranian people, Muslim people, gay people, straight people, trans people, people. Change the way you look at things. That's how we survive, humanity. All these old beliefs that we have, they've got to be shed for this new. And guess what? You're either going to change or you're going to die. That's the command of nature. Transform or die. That's the command. Grow or die. Anything in nature that's not growing, that's stunted, that's diseased, nature just sends a wind or a tornado or an earthquake or fire to just clear that out. It's not helpful any more than nature. Come on. I know that's right. Money in the vortex. 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 Now I want you to know something, family, before I leave. I'm not just speaking these words. I back it up with my own action and our own movement in the wealth and wellness vortex. I'm not just talking words. We have the Wealth and Wellness Vortex, which is a community of wellness creators, wealth and wellness creators. It's a wealth and wellness Facebook group. And in our Wealth and Wellness Facebook group, we have made a commitment. We've made a commitment to clean up our lives of toxins. We've made a commitment to clean up the rivers, lakes, oceans, and streams. We've made a commitment to clean up planet Earth. We've made a commitment to help Earth. We've made a commitment to become wealthy. And you find out exactly how we do that in the Wealth and Wellness Vortex Facebook group. The link will be below. I'm not just talking about this. I'm teaching about it. I'm walking it out. I'm teaching it to my children and my children's children. We're practicing it, and we're in community doing it. Because as a witch, we cannot have the desecration of nature. It won't happen. Many witches are the keepers of the ocean. Some witches are the keepers of the salt waters and sweet waters. Some witches are keepers of the earth element and mountains and boulders and hills. And some witches are keepers of fire, volcanoes over in Hawaii. And some witches are keepers of the air element. I'm an air witch, keepers of the air, and really in charge of hurricanes, tornadoes, all these winds and gusty things. Let's live in harmony. Let's return to Mayat. I love you. ValerieLove.com. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Mwah. Peace. Kaisi out.